Hi guys, welcome back. So today we'll be taking a look at some of the Hong Kong stocks. Before we begin, remember to take a second to give the video a like and subscribe as you're really about our channel. Without further ado, let's first start off with the Hang Seng Index. So as you can see, the Hang Seng Index did not really have a good week. In fact, we actually closed the week below the 19,000 psychological support or resistance. So it puts us in a very bearish territory to actually go down further next week or even the upcoming week ahead. So as you can see, from the recent low of 18,235, we actually hit a high of 22,447, around 61.8%, and then we pull back down. Unfortunately, you can see that this 19,189 at this levels here did not hold. So this 19,189 actually gave way. So in fact, the next support we're looking at is actually this 18,235. In the event that we actually break down these support levels, we may slide down further to even the 18,000 psychological support. So next week, it is very critical for us to see a bounce. If we do not see a very good bounce, perhaps to even 19 or 20,000, then unfortunately, it's likely for us to create a double bottom at this 18.2K or even breaking down slightly to trigger stop losses before going back up once again. As of now, the resistance to watch will be the 19,000 psychological resistance, and the second resistance will be 19,500. Let's move on to the Hang Seng Tech Index. So very similar situation. You can see that the Hang Seng Tech Index already started breaking down, and we finished the week all the way at the bottom. So the first support to watch, and this is a very key support, will be 3755. So 3755, a very similar situation to the Hang Seng Index, is a very critical and also essentially the last support. In the event that this 3755 were to break down, then it's likely for us to come back and retest this 3463, which is around the 18,200 for the Hang Seng Index. As of now, we are still trending down. So if the trend is down, it's likely to continue down unless there's a trend reversal. So the resistance to watch will be 3984 and also 4126. Let's move on to some of its constituents. So the first one will be Tencent. So for Tencent or 0700, you can see that this 297 already broke down. We created a new low at 288, and we in fact closed the week near the low at 293. So this puts us in a very good position to come back and retest this 288 or even potentially creating a new low from here. And it will continue to slide down all the way until we find some perhaps some support at 280 or even 270 levels. So as you can see, after we managed to find a rebound, unfortunately, we met with a lot of cloud resistance here and we couldn't punch up further. And at the same time, this 38.2% acted as a very strong resistance at 333 levels, and we continue to slide down. So for the resistance to watch now will be around 309 to 313 levels, which is also coincides with this cloud resistance. Let's move on to Alibaba. So as you can see, Alibaba compared to the Hang Seng Index, it is slightly stronger, and even the Hang Seng Tech Index is also slightly stronger. So for now, Alibaba 23.6% is really very much broken, and this puts us in a very, very good position to actually come back to retest this $80 psychological support level, or even potentially sliding to $78 or $79. Not forgetting the low was in fact $71. So if we were to slide further, even after breaking this $80, then this $71 may be tested once again. For the resistance to watch, it will be 89 and around $92. This blue conversion line and red baseline for now. Moving on to Meituan. So for Meituan, you see that we are trading sideways for a while, but it looks to me pretty bearish because we are now under the cloud support level. So we already broke down the cloud. You can see that after breaking down the cloud, we actually tried to go back up once again, but the cloud acted as a very strong resistance and we came back down. So for now, we closed the week at this 170 levels, at this 50% Fibonacci support level. If we were to break down next week, then 161 and 150 is the next two support in line. As for the resistance to watch, the key resistance will be around 175 levels. And even if we can punch up, then this resistance around 194, 195 level would be a critical resistance for Meituan to break through. Moving on to NetEase. So for NetEase, equally bearish. You can see that it already broke down this 50% Fibonacci support at 140. And now we are already at this 133 levels. So this 133 is a very critical level because it was held several times. In fact, 5 to 6 times. So in the event that we actually break down, which is a very high chance for us to break down next week, it puts us in a very good position to actually test this 23.6% at 123.6, or even heading back towards this 108.3. For this counter, NetEase 9999. For the resistance to watch, it will be 136 and 139 levels. Not forgetting, even if we were to go up, there's a lot of cloud resistance in the way. So do expect a lot of sellers to appear. Moving on to NIO. So for NIO, it actually had a pretty good bounce. You can see that after it fell from this high of 199.2, it broke down 61.8%, even 50% at the $150. Fortunately, it actually held this 38.2% pretty well and hit a low of around 134 levels. So this 38.2% was essentially the last support, and we saw a good bounce after the earnings was announced. So for the key resistance to watch from 134 to a recent high of 199.2, you can see that this is a very key resistance, which is the 61.8% and 174.3. If you can break out above these levels here, then we can be considered pretty bullish. Unfortunately, you can see that there were many sellers around here, and we started to see some sell-off. So in the event that this we can surpass this 61.8%, 175 next week, then 185.2 would be the next resistance to watch, or even potentially heading back towards the recent high of 199.2. If you were to pull back down, you can see that this is a cloud support coming up at around 160 levels or even 155 levels. For now, this blue conversion line and red baseline is currently acting as a very strong support at around 154, 155 levels. That said, you can see that we actually created a massive gap here upon the gap up of good results or decent results. So you can see that this low here is currently around 137.2. So if you pull back down and close this gap, we have to fill up all the way to 137 levels. Let's move on to 9618 or JD.com. So for JD, very similar situation to NetEase, 38.2% at 222 levels. If you were to break down next week, then 209 and even potentially 189 is the next two support to watch out for. Before, of course, we have the $200 psychological support to hold. And for the resistance to watch, it will be around 232, 233 levels, which coincides with the cloud resistance. Moving on to Baidu or 9888. So for 9888, you can see that we already started to break down this key 38.2%. And we closed the week on a Friday with a very ugly looking candle. So this puts us in a very potential position to actually come back at least 23.6% to see some buyers coming back at this level at 116 level. If you can close back above 123.9 at this 38.2%, that would be good. For the resistance to watch will be 130 and 135. If 116 were to break down as well, which is not really a strong support, even though there's this gap that needs to be filled, then potentially we can actually come back to retest this 104.2. Next up, we have AIA. So AIA, a very big component of the Hang Seng Index. You can see that it already broken down this 71.6 levels. So it's a very ugly position for AIA. So potentially, and it's a very high chance for us to come back to retest this $70 psychological support that was held in sometime in April and May. That said, if we do not find a double bottom here, then we may potentially slide down further to trigger some stop losses and or even potentially creating some panic selling before we can trend back up. For the resistance to watch, it will be 73 and also $75. Moving on to PingAn. So for PingAn, it's quite similar to Tencent. You can see that now we are struggling across the cloud resistance. So it's likely for us to come back down once again, even potentially retesting this 42.55 levels or even creating a new low in the upcoming sessions ahead. For the resistance to watch, it will be this cloud resistance around $45 and $46. So lastly, we have Xiaomi Corporation. So Xiaomi is now heading back towards its low and even creating a lower low from its recent low of 1030. You can see that we actually created this very bearish looking rather bullish looking candle here on this Friday itself. We actually could potentially flush out some stop losses and hopefully we can close back above this 1030 levels in the upcoming week ahead. If not, it's likely for us to even threaten the $10 psychological support or even potentially sliding down to $9 or $8 in the upcoming sessions. As for the resistance to watch, it will be 1055 and 1127. So overall, you can see that the Hang Seng Index and the Hang Seng Tech Index, even though it is slightly stronger, it is very bearish and it's likely for us to create new lows in the upcoming sessions ahead or even potentially next week in the event that we do not get a double bottom from this 18.2K support level, which is a very critical support level for the Hang Seng Index. So hopefully we see a bounce next week and we see some buyers coming back. So if there's any changes, I'll give you guys an update. Thanks for stopping by. Till we meet again, appreciate the manipulation.